And then we wrote Cassandra and the Changeling Sword, which is basically about a woman who dies, becomes a ninja on another Earth that's actually on the back of a turtle. And then she ends up with an MIT dropout who happens to be a prostitute who can design these incredible gadgets. And they start to go to war with these people called the Four, or this lady called Four. And the thing of it is, the thing that amazes me, people actually understand what I'm doing. They get it.
That's great. You know, that's the human imagination, though, right? You know, It's like we want stories. We've had stories since we, you know, climbed out of the trees, maybe even before that, you know, and storytelling is very important, whether it's in a novel format or picture format, you know, and I think that me, for instance, I write towards the intelligent reader. You know, I'm not writing simplistic things. I'm writing pretty complex things. So I think it's great to give your readers the benefit of the doubt that they do get it and they're gonna follow along. And we do have imagination, right? So I don't think it's a problem. We don't have to spell every little thing out for our readers.
No, I'm a big fan of show, not tell.
Yeah.
And you know, let the surroundings, let the events give you the information that you need. That was my only regret with Legends Parallel is because there were a lot of extenuating circumstances, but I basically had to take a variety of different things on the fly and put them together into one thing. And the only way to do that was I had to do a little bit of telling in the first couple of pages. Mm-hmm. And it bugged me, still bugs me to this day. But I mean, even with that, because you're on a limit of how many pages you can write with a comic book. You know, right. And if you're doing a floppy, once you get into graphic novel, then you can do more and you can stretch it out and whatever. But these were meant to be floppies, and I got 32 pages to work with, and that's all I got. So I got to make sure everything works. And
right. So let's see. We're kind of turning a little bit away from your writing process and the things that you've been doing. Do you have anything to share with us like that has nothing to do with writing? You have hobbies or I'm sure you do.
Yeah, I used to be a professional bass player. I was James Brown's business manager for a while, on the road only. I like to cook. I love to cook.
Nice.
I'm a good cook. I've even won some local awards, you know, for my chilies and different things.
Oh, very good.
In fact, very first date, my fiance Kim and I went on. Kim's kind of a picky eater, and I didn't know what to make her. And she wasn't, you know, I didn't know how picky she was. That we discovered later. So I made her pork l'orange with veggies and different things like that, and I laid it out on these platters, and I said, "Here, dinner." And she looked at me and she's like, "Oh my God." Mine, he's mine. No one can have him. He's mine.
Yeah, my husband's a cook, so I totally understand that.
Yeah, so she's happy. I'm happy. We're happy. But yeah, I like to cook. I like music. I try my hands at writing or at drawing, and that my stick figures look like they have epilepsy. So I just haven't really done anything with that.
Yeah. I can draw. I just don't have the patience to put into it.
Yeah, you know, actually, I think that my favorite hobby, I don't know if it's a hobby or not, but it's one of my favorite things to do. I got roped into teaching Sunday school at our church. I thought it was a mandatory thing. Like, you're a new member now, you have to go teach Sunday school. Okay. Big dorky guy going off to teach the kids. Yeah. And it turns out it's not mandatory. It's completely voluntary. Second of all, it turns out that I'm good at it. The kids like me and I like them. And I don't have kids, you know. I've toured with bands. I've done a bunch of different things. I've seen all 7 continents. I've put my feet down on all 7 of them. But so, you know, it's a trade-off, though. I couldn't raise a family. There's no way I could do that. And so these kids, it's like I wake up, I'm happy, I'm alive again, you know. And it's kind of funny. They give me the like 1st through 4th graders, like, here, you have them, and I'm like, really? I'm the guy you're trusting them with?
Here, kids, here's some comic books.
No. Oh, no.
No, I know.
We carefully put a demarcation on that.
Yeah.
But in fact, I love it. One of the kids, her name's KJ, she goes, "Mr. Bill's a wonderful person, but we're not allowed to read his stuff until we're 8."
great. Well, at least they know.
You know, actually, this is true. This is true. Hybrid Zero and Legends Parallel are both rated M for mature. And we have discovered, especially in the Southwest, that if we find a comic book store near a church, especially an evangelical church, they love our stuff because they come out of there after being told about fire and health. They need a break.
Yes.
Whatever.
Like,
just enjoy them. That's what it is.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's entertainment. Yeah.
Yeah, we do have a lot of kind of have you ever heard of Sci-Fi Comic Nexus?
Yes.
Okay, they do great work, absolutely incredible work. Zach Wheeler, the owner of it, decided to do some reviews on my stuff because he thought people needed to be exposed to it, as it were. Nice. And he started out, his review of Legends Parallel literally starts out with boobs. If there was one word I was going to use.
Boobs.
But then he got into it and he's like, yeah, but the science in this is incredible and the social commentary is dead on and there's a lot going on here. But yeah, boobs. It's got jugs of boobs.
I think most comic books do, don't they?
Yeah.
It's an exaggerated, most comic books I've seen, it's kind of an exaggerated take on our world. It wouldn't be any fun if it weren't exaggerated in some way on many levels.
We're not giving press to other people's comic book companies, but excuse me. I have seen quite a few comic books where women are drawn more realistically, or they're bigger and larger and curvier, and that's wonderful too. Everybody should get some representation in the comic
Absolutely,
books. Should have some fun. And then in Hybrid Zero, we go down a weird path there because the mom basically genetically modifies her own daughter to get a different job.
Oh goodness! Yeah.
You thought your mom was a helicopter parent?
Right. Yeah. Get some surgery here. Is it actual surgery in the story or is it more like lasers or something? Or step into this little box and in 2 minutes you're completely.
They actually go in and alter her DNA.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like for mom, it's because mom wanted a tail. She wanted giant boobs, but then she needed a tail to balance it because she couldn't walk.
Oh.
It goes on and on, and we have a field day with that in Hybrid Zero. It's just making Hybrid Zero a semi-linear story was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life because there are elements of story that's just Cyril has all the elements. He's thought of everything. He's thought of who they interact with, what they're introduced. It's all there. It's just up to me to go and start picking stuff out and putting it together so somebody can follow it along. And when Zach said he was going to review Hybrid Zero, I was a little concerned because I wasn't sure how people are going to get this. This is the first time we're taking it out to a larger market with the new storylines and the different stuff that we put into it. And it was like 2 lines into the review, and I went, this guy got every single bit of it. Yeah, I just knew, he's got it. And so, and then could have been, a couple days later, I ran into one of the kids from the library where I used to do mentoring before all this crap started happening.
Oh, yeah.
And first words out of her mouth was like, wow, what an amazing story. What a wonderful world you've created. Is the military, it's basically consensual sex is happy and it's on TV, it's everywhere you go. But violence is taboo. It's the opposite of the world we live in here. And that's what I want people to get. I want them to understand that we could, you need to look outside your window and stop saying kill everything, because killing everything is kind of wrong.
Absolutely wrong.
So,
I mean, if we could get political, right? But we won't.
No, we won't.
Yeah.
I'm thinking more of like the censorship in films and stuff like that. And, And I did a podcast out in LA not that long ago, and one of the things we were talking about was talking with a couple of women who work for national magazines, and they mentioned right away, they're like, your stuff is like such a celebration of sex and kind of a snap on violence. How is that possible? I'm like, I live on the deep south side of Chicago. People are constantly like, we had Proud Boys down here trying to start a riot. We had we have all this stuff, and we've got gang problems too. I'm not stupid enough to say we don't. Violence is not the answer. Violence is the refuge of a tiny mind, and
absolutely.
I want people to have fun in life. I want them to do different things. I mean, sure, I write stories with violence in them, and I write stories with exciting conflicts because I'm a writer and I need some conflict in my story. If I wrote 300 pages of and rainbows were seen,
everybody's having sex and happy, that wouldn't work. There's got to be conflict.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, a buddy of mine wrote a song in the 80s called "Everyone's Still Having Sex," so that was actually a big hit for him.
Yeah,
but,
that sounds familiar.
Yeah, it was done here in Chicago. I'm blanking on his name, but we both worked at I worked at Z95 radio station. He worked at B96, and he wrote that song and had a massive hit with it.
Well, I'll look it up and I'll be sure to put it down on the bottom of the
Down
screen. So I have to do that once in a while with these interviews. It's like, I'll look that up later and I'll type it in.
That's cool.
Subtitles.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I can tell you that much about him. So I mean, I've got a bunch of stuff out. I got 2 new projects coming out that I'm really excited about.
Oh yeah, tell us.
One is called Bob, Sins of the Sun, and it is a story.
I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah. It is the story of Death wanting to be a superhero in Chicago. And when I originally wrote it, it was a hyper-violent. It was really violent. I did lots of death. And then I was talking to a couple of different people, and they're like, well, if he's going to kill everybody anyway, what's the difference? Why not just have him be Death? And I went, good point. So I went back and I started putting things together. I'm like, how would this guy be different? How would he not be the Grim Reaper?
There you go.
And then I said to myself, I got to make it clear that the Grim Reaper is actually kind of a cool dude, the original Grim Reaper. Because if you think about it, what's his job? His job is to come to you in your final moments and guide you to a place where your soul will be cared for eternity. That's kind of a cool gig. That's a friendly dude.
Yeah.
I want to drink with that dude.
Yeah, there you go.
So when I started approaching it from that point of view, then Bob started falling into place, that Bob was a rebel against that. And he was like, no, some of these people need to be taken out a little earlier. Some of these people need to get, face something a little sooner. We don't need to keep waiting for it. As that started coming together and different things came together, and one of the things I had him do was trade a soul for a little girl from an old, angry person, horrible person. He basically took that person's soul, killing them, even though they were supposed to live for a lot longer, and put that soul in the little girl so she could live a long, long life. He swapped their ages. He does stuff like that. And that became very interesting to me. And he likes coffee houses. Don't ask why, but he does. But he's got a sister his sister plays by the rules. She's like, these are Dad's rules. This is what Dad wants us to do. And you're breaking the rules, Bob. And so I started having some fun with it. And it's cool because he doesn't have a name throughout at the beginning of the book, but he gets caught in front of a camera by the police. And they're like, what's your name? And he's like, Bob? I'm Bob.
Simple name.
So that one, I got a lady named Marisa Mikkels to do it. She calls herself Ghoul Beans now.
Ghoul Beans?
Yeah, like it's a
GHOUL?
Mm-hmm. BEANZ. She used to be Soybean, now she's Ghoul Beans. But when she was Soybean, she did Savarchik, which is my transgender superhero story. So I love her stuff. It's very liquid. It's very fluid. It's kind of got a postmodern, non-realistic feel. Like she leaves out parts, so you get the outline of the face, but there may not be eyes in one, or there'll be the eyes.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it is. It's really, really cool.
Yeah.
I love working with her. She's a wonderful person, and I love working with her. She's a wonderful person. So she's doing Bob, and then when we get done with Bob, we're going to circle back and do the full episode of Savarchik, because we did a short version of it. And the simplest way I can tell you how people reacted to Savarchik is this. I was up in Batavia, Illinois, which means nothing to you, but to me, it's like an hour and a half of driving just to get there. And I was having a horrible day because it turned out the convention I was at was geared for kids 4 to 9. Nobody's buying my stuff for a 4-year-old.
No.
Oh, look, it's got boobs. Here you go, Bobby.
Yeah, there you go. There's the Bob again.
Yeah. All right, here you go, Dennis. Is that better now? You feel better?
There you go. Yeah.
So anyway, this lady walks in. She'd driven an hour. Now, Savarchik we were selling for $2 because it's a short book. It's a character introduction book. It's not an ash can or a trash can book, but it is similar. It's short. It's it's only 10 pages or so.
Oh yeah.
So
that's not even a chap book. Yeah.
No, it's not. So she comes down.
It's a pamphlet.
Right. So she comes down, and it's $2 for the book. You can order it online from my website for $2. I will sign it and send it to you for another $1.50 in shipping. She has clearly spent much more than that on gas just to get there. Right. She tells me her daughter has come out as trans and is going through the process with medical professionals and medical health. And she wanted her to know that there was a superhero for her, a superhero that represented her. So I signed the book. We take a picture together, selfie, and off she goes. 2 weeks later, I get an email. And every 16-year-old girl in the world is going to know this email from this girl. It was like, oh my God. My mom brought me the book, and and I read the book, and the book was nice, and it was nice of you to write the book, and totally awesome. And this 16-year-old girl was she's rolling her eyes at me because I'm old and weird, but we never physically checked it, but you just got it from the way the email was written. But she loved the book, and she thanked me for writing it. Oh, and that makes me feel good. I mean, there are some days where you get up and do this job, and you're like, why am I doing this?
Yeah. I think often it's like, this is a fictional world. What is this giving to the world? What are we doing? It's all make believe. But no, it does. It speaks to people. And I think it's great that your work is so open to the LGBTQ community. And that's fantastic.
When I was a kid, I had an uncle who was gay. He served in Vietnam, and they gave him a dishonorable discharge when they found out he was gay. I mean, you can shoot people between the eyes, but none of that playing with the dangly bits. And so, oh God. Anyway, so he came out. He came out of the Army. He came out of the Air Force, and he was an ace. I mean, he had all the bona fide kills and everything, and he let him keep his record because of that. Oh, and so he got an honorable discharge, but it was like with a caveat or whatever the heck it was. So he ended up having to get a regular job right away. He got a job with Flying Tiger. I was I was a theater kid, so my mom didn't know what to make of me. I was like, hey, look, new makeup. No. So she started taking me to gay relatives' houses and just leaving me there. And then that got uncomfortable and weird. But not that I cared. I mean, it's just like, not what I'm doing today. I just happen to be a little more flamboyant than everybody else. And think of me as more like a Bowie and less like a Freddie Mercury. Right?
There you
go there. So we I've just always been sympathetic to the community. God knows I've been experimental in my own personal life, so I definitely have to say, I have no ledge to judge from here,
Right.
But it was, I've had some fun, and I've done some good things, and I've met some really nice people. And one of the things, Kim, that's my fiance, and I like to do, is when they have the gay pride parade here in Chicago, we go down and shut down the Nazis so that they don't bother them. So I don't bother people. Because, I am 6'5". I'm 6'5", it's like.
Oh, okay.
And I think punching a Nazi is a social event.
I think everybody should do it. I'm all about love, but that will not be tolerated.
No, I definitely do not see me doing well with Nazis. No. And it's one of those things. It's like I know all these people. I live in a predominantly neighborhood of people of color. And these are my friends. These are the people I know. These are the people I care about. These are the people. When Kim fell down the steps one day, it wasn't me who got run into the step. It was a guy across the hall who's just as black can be. But he went tearing down those steps to make sure she was okay.
Yeah, we're all just people.
We all bleed red. We all bleed red.
Absolutely.
And I had a teacher. Oh God. I was in high school, And he said, every difference you see between you and another human being is just proof that you're not paying attention.
Oh,
And I thought, yeah. And so I kind of live by that. And, you know, and then with Sunday school, you flip that a little bit, and it's Matthew 7:12. Do unto others, y'all, as you would have them do unto you.
Right. It's a pretty simple one.
Yeah. It's like sirens and lights, move to the right. These are simple rules, but you're supposed to follow them. You know, don't be a jerk. Just be nice to people. Help people out.
Yeah. And most of the time, the people that others are hating aren't even involved in their lives.
No.
So it's like they're not even bothering you. So what do you give a shit what these people are doing? You know.
Well, when I wrote Savarchik, one of the things was the Brittle Riders, my book had come out, had been bootlegged in Russia.
Oh, you told me about that. Yeah.
Yeah. They sold 35,000 copies of my book. Long story short, I'm technically a seditionist because I supported LGBTQ rights and equal rights for people of color. So I'm a horrible person, and I would go to jail if I went to Russia. So I'm not going to Russia.
That's not a bad place to be. You know, I mean, being that person that isn't allowed in another country because of standing up for that is awesome.
Oh, no,
I mean,
trust me.
Yeah.
I lose not a moment of sleep over this. But when we were writing but I was working with some trans teens at the library. I was helping them with their English homework and stuff like that. And they were talking about how they didn't have a hero. And I'm like, well, I'm a science fiction writer. It says so on my business card. I will write this book.
Nice.
So I can do a character introduction, get that going for you. And so we started talking about it, and we came up with what the character should be like and what should have her flowers be. And then I said, let's have some fun. And they're like, what do you got? And I said, let's make it's nice woman. It's on her 21st birthday, and she becomes possessed by a Serbian fire god. And they're like, but she started out as a boy. And I went, right, started out as a boy, became a woman, then got possessed by a Serbian fire god. And they all looked at me and they're like, this is why we like you.
You're willing to stir the pot. That's great. Making waves.
Yeah. So we did that. And then because I have an element of being a jerk in me, I had a friend of mine who lives in Serbia, or Bosnia, excuse me, take copies of the digital prints of the book when we got it done and ease them into the Russian comic book stores. Yeah, people just got pissed. But it was beautiful because just because I'm me, the opening scenes of the book are set in Russia.
Oh. That's great. Oh yeah, they just, I mean, not to get all political, but I think they just pass a law that it's legal to hunt homosexuals?
It's not.
I don't know. I mean, this is just random stuff that I hear my teenager talk about and his friend talk about.
Basically, if you kill someone and claim that they were homosexual and coming on to you or did anything, then it's like stand your ground laws that allow a lot of useless things. But they did make it illegal for LGBTQ people to adopt children or to be near children, to raise children, which is stupid because any evolutionary scientist will tell you the reason there's an evolutionary reason for homosexuality, and it's when families fall apart or a husband dies, a wife dies, and a kid needs to be raised. Well, the gay couple would raise them, and then that kid would go out and start a family of his own as a straight person. And I'm being very simplistic here, but that's basically the basic reason behind it. There's an evolutionary reason, and in the Bible, you got Isaiah, who's like, everybody, the foreigners, the weirdos, the outsiders, they're all parts of God. And it's like Isaiah isn't saying I saw this in a dream. He's like, God told me this. It's really clear. Get it right.
Yeah. And even if there isn't, even if it can't be backed up by science or religion, I just kind of feel like, it exists. Let's just move on, move along.
It means who you sleep with, who you love impacts me not at all.
Right.
If you know how to make a good cup of coffee, I'm your friend.
There you go.
You buy me a vodka, I'll move in with you. Mine's empty, but oh well.
Yeah, mine is too. I'm kind of slurping on the melting ice cubes.
No, but this is a simple thing for me. Just be nice to people, get along with people, have fun with people. You know, and if you don't believe in God, that's fine too, because then you definitely don't have a reason to hate anybody.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I try. You know, it's funny. Splice is the only book that I wrote that doesn't have an LGBTQ character in it.
Okay.
And the reason for that is because I wanted the story arc to be linear. I wanted to follow this kid through everything. And there's nowhere in there where you go from street kid to hustling in Chicago to driving, escaping the police to ending up in New York to working with the mob, so on and so forth. Everything that goes on, everything that happens in his life, there's nowhere to veer off unless I was going to make him gay, and that just never felt right. It felt
Sure. Yeah.
It felt forced. He is a kid who is a kid, and I didn't even think about it until after I was done with the book, and I was like, nope, there isn't any. But somebody pointed out, I was like, yeah, okay, but you got people of all sorts of different colors, so you got the rainbow thing going on. And I was like, all right, I guess.
Well, and sometimes we can't include everything in our stories, right?
No,
you know?
no, you can't.
And I think that's something about the LGBTQ community is the friends that I have, they're like, that's just like one tiny part of who I am. Like everyone else, we're all this layer of labels and definitions of ourselves and everything. And that aspect is just an aspect, it's not a focus. Let's not focus on it.
It's like I was telling somebody the other day, he said, nobody wakes up in the morning and says, well, I'm going to be trans today.
Right.
Yeah. They go through, they know this from when they're kids, and they know that, what's wrong and what's missing. And they go through all this effort and everything. And then you got people up there going, well, these trans people chose that lifestyle. No, they did not.
No.
This is their lifestyle. And I know, especially, I knew it instinctively before, but then when I started working directly with trans kids, any ideas I had that made this sound easier were immediately destroyed.
Oh, yeah, no.
As one of the girls, she was going through the estrogen therapy. One day she would be like, hi, how is everybody? Let's rainbow and hug. The next day she's like, kill, I will kill you.
The testosterone is kicking in.
Yeah. So that was always entertaining because she's like 6'2" and used to be a kickboxer. But well, she's still 6'2" and she's still in a kickboxer. Now she's a she, but whatever.
Yeah.
And she always, I shouldn't say it that way. She was always a she. She just had the wrong rapper.
There you go. Yeah.
She got it right. Yeah, I think that's a better way of looking at it. But anyway, so
it's just people being people.
Yeah. So that's my world, the world of Bill McSciFi.
And so you are promoting Splice right now, your novel that's based on a comic book that's becoming a movie. Woohoo! And and I have my debut novel, The Everstein Chronicles Small Demons, coming out in October, which I'm very excited about. And in the process of my second novel, which I've been working on it for over 6 months, and I still don't have a title. I don't know how that works. I'm sure one will eventually come up, but that's great. And you're at it's just Bill McSciFi McCormick, right? That's your website.
No, it's just not even that complicated. It's just BillMcSciFi.com.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah, easy peasy. And then when you go there, I have like all these cool social media links. And if you click on any one of them, maybe Facebook, Bill McSciFi, Twitter, Bill McSciFi, Instagram, Bill McSciFi, you'll just see a theme there.
Yeah. Bill McSciFi. And Splice won an award, didn't it?
Yeah, run the Critter Poll, Best Readers Award for the Best Science Fiction Novel of 2020. And I think that's cool because the people who put together the Critter Awards are the same people who used to work on the Nebula Awards. So,
very nice.
So I don't have to join a union, and I still get some same kind of eyes on it. But yeah, we got a lot of eyeballs on it, and they really liked it, so that was good.
That's great. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Fantastic. All right. I think we've covered everything. Is there anything you wanted to add? I can always edit stuff like this, but...
No.
Okay. Oh, great. Thank you so much for joining me, and have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful weekend.
I will do so. Thank you very much.
Thanks. All right. Well, good. I think I think we really did cover everything that I wanted to cover, and thank you for joining me.
Oh, my pleasure. And it was a nice, comfortable conversation. So.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm totally new at this. So my publisher put me up to this. He was like, you need to start a YouTube channel. And I was like, what does a writer do on a YouTube channel? He's like,
I have a YouTube channel and I'm still not sure what the hell I'm doing with it.
Yeah.
I know one thing I'm not doing with it is this. I don't want to put that kind of effort into it right now.
Yeah.
I do a weekly radio show for Fox. I do promotions on a couple of other things. I do video editing for my background stuff, that goes to different promoters and stuff like that. It's like, at some point I'm like, I don't want to put this together.
Yeah, you just have to. At some point, you just have to like draw the line. But he was saying, so writers read their books. And I was like, well, my book isn't even out yet. And even after my book comes out, I have to wait a while because we want the audiobook to sell. We want the book to sell. And me sitting in front of a camera reading my book isn't going to happen till probably I don't know, 6 months after it's published to do that, And so I've just been racking my brain. And then I was like, I found that I really liked talking to writers. I'd find myself in these weird conversations of like Tolkien and how he describes a tree, and I could talk for 15 minutes with someone about how Tolkien describes a tree. And I was like, there's something in this. Just talking about this little stuff, that we don't always talk about.
You're good at this. There's no question about that. That's fine.
And then drinking helps the nerves.
There you go.
So that's where that came. I'm like, oh, I'm nervous. Even thinking about this. How do I combat that?
Yeah, it's just. I swear to God, when I saw titles of, I'm like, what the hell kind of show is this? I'm completely in, but.
Right. Well, and you weren't the only one that did that. I don't know if you saw that on the thread that someone else was like, and then I thought, oh no, and I went further with it. I was like, titties talking nipples. I was like, oh, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's titles talking tipples, yeah.
Yeah, so I was thinking, titties talking nipples.
Yeah, you can get in trouble with alliterations, but oh well.
Yeah, So the tipples is some steampunk friend came up with that. I was like, tipples, that's what gets us tipsy, right? So.
Well, it's from tippling. It's an actual word.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a real word. So, and yeah, our tipples were vodka on the rocks. That took some getting used to for me until the ice cubes started to melt. Then I'm like, oh, that's better.
All right, well, I'm going to go grab some dinner, so I will see you later.
Sounds good. All right, thank you so much, Bill. Have a wonderful weekend. All right.
You too, thanks for everything.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. That's where my bookmark is. I read the original long ago, so I'm like, oh, I've got other things to read. I'll have to get back to that. So.
That's it. Enough people have read Robert Louis Stevenson, so
No, I recommend reading the original. I have read it.
Take a back burner to the indie authors. Dad, you won't hurt his feelings, so.